This content is brought to you by Westlund Incorporated, helping you create a vision for your life. Hi, I'm Kim Westlund. I help people just like you discover and take action on their vision so you can build the life you've always dreamed about. So you have a vision for your life. When you get that vision and it just lights you up from the inside, it's so exciting to discover and understand what our purpose is and how to action the vision that we have. That's the very first step. But I want to ask you, what happens when some of that excitement fades and you feel the pressure of change as you try to step out and move closer to your goals? You may be thinking, I did not sign up for some of this. This is just really, really difficult. And to be honest, I didn't expect some of the changes that are happening in my life. So I'm going to talk very candidly today about the realities of how your vision can be tested and also how it's necessary to test your vision and to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the vision is in fact what you should be investing in. Now, since our visions are unique to each one of us, it's so important to remember that we are, in fact, trailblazing something unique. That vision that you have on the inside of you is something that only you can do. And that's a very key understanding here, because chances are you are most likely taking on a challenge that you've never had to take on before. So, with that in mind, you are absolutely going to find yourself in places that are uncomfortable. When you think about going on a trip to a new country and you haven't been there before, and you arrive and things are different, the people are different, speaking another language, the culture is a little different, it's not familiar to you, the food is foreign. That's how we can feel when we are moving into a new place in our lives where things just seem really, really different. So one of the first ways that vision will test you is how you decide to deal with being outside of your comfort zone. And here's something to remember. If you are not moving forward, you probably don't have a lot of opposition to deal with. There's something about standing still. Not a lot's going to come at you. But if you are moving forward, you can be guaranteed that some opposition is going to show up. Opposition can also be defined in many ways. When I decided to start my own business, I had to really take some time to understand and get used to not having a fixed income every 2 weeks. That familiar paycheck was not showing up anymore. And this challenged me so much because I didn't realize how comfortable I had gotten and how much I had settled in to relying on that amount of money showing up regularly. And I know that's what most people do. They work at a job and they get paid on a regular basis. So many times when I first started my business, I thought about getting another job just so I could gain back a little bit of that regularity with a paycheck. And I realized it wasn't just about the paycheck, but that I had become so dependent on that certain amount of money to make me feel comfortable, to have some stability. But it was also keeping me from doing anything else. And I had to, I'm going to call it unhook from that corporate salaried mindset for myself into what I'm calling a possibility centered mindset, where all of a sudden the sky's the limit. But here's the reality that didn't show up right away. So the test was whether or not I was going to keep my eyes on the vision of where I'm going and to keep pushing through being innovative and creative and finding solutions to keep pushing my business forward versus getting in fear of never having enough to have the business succeed or just not seeing how this was going to happen. There were some really hard days financially. There still are at times, but my vision is big enough to keep pressing forward. It's kind of the messy middle, if you want to call it that. So when it comes to finances, there's many paths that we can take on the journey. And I want to encourage you because sometimes a path means getting a part time job or keeping a full time job for this season to supplement until there's enough to go forward and take the next steps. The question is, are you going to give up on your vision because the finances aren't there? Or are you going to do what you have to do to fight your way through? That's a test. It's a great time to evaluate your vision, maybe the timing of everything, and even the circumstances surrounding it. Vision can also be tested through your relationships. This is a big one. The minute you decide to pursue your vision, no matter what that looks like, it will undoubtedly mean some adjustments to your existing life, your priorities, and even the time that you spend. And that's going to affect your relationships. Many times when we step out and we want to do something different than what everybody else is doing, it's going to cause a lot of questions from those around us, and sometimes not positive ones. People can question our abilities, our intentions, even our dreams. But if you know deep down on the inside, this is your path to take, that's what you need to listen to in a situation like this. It can even ruffle a lot of feathers when it comes to the expectations that others have of you. Your parents may have expectations about what you should pursue in life. They may be wanting you to take on something that they see for you instead of what you see for you. They may be very well intentioned in doing so. But here's the thing to remember. You have to find your own path for yourself. No one can do that for you. And we may have a lot of very well-intentioned people around us, but that is the cold hard facts. For you to live a life that fulfills your purpose, you need to carve that out and figure that out for yourself. This is a tricky one because it can be hard to let go of relationships and create new boundaries with people we care about. We all have to take inventory at times and see if the people that we surround ourselves with are actually helping us or hurting us in how we grow in life. There are seasons for everything, and you may have to press pause on what was once a great relationship or friendship and take a step back from someone who is continually negative with you. What that does as well is it opens up space for others who can support you in continually moving towards your goals. So you need to personally look at your relationships in your life and determine which ones are supportive, which ones are not, which ones we need to push pause on, which ones we need to nurture. That will help you immensely as you move forward. Miles Monroe said, "Destiny demands diligence." He even recommended writing that statement down somewhere so you can see it daily to remind you that opposition is going to come, even through people. And it's important to remain persistent when you're pursuing your vision. Here's something else to remember. Your skills, your character, and your values will be refined as your vision is tested. This is so true on so many levels, and I feel it's so important to pay attention to. When I started my business, I was leapfrogging off my experience in the corporate world where I worked with a team and we all had our own individual roles and tasks that needed to be done daily. And when I left and began to work on my own, I quickly realized where my strengths and my weaknesses showed up and how I chose to deal with them. At the very beginning, some of the areas that I needed to develop, I chose to ignore. And you know why? Because it was hard and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I fell back into the familiar place of what I knew and wasn't addressing what I was not good at. I wanted to focus on the fun stuff of being a business owner and do what I felt comfortable doing. What I was lacking in the beginning was the discipline and the ability to prioritize what was truly important to move the business forward. So what I realized in the process of becoming a little more disciplined in my time and my priorities is that one of my values is excellence. And that was not able to be achieved without some adjustments on my part. Because my vision for my business is helping others develop their own and put it to action. I had to be the example of it first. And so I needed to develop that, and I had to address it. I can't teach others something that I'm not doing myself. So my vision tested me, and whether I was willing to make those adjustments or not was going to determine success or failure in that area. So remember, it's not about perfection. It's about continually growing in the direction you need to go. Are you in the middle of a big test right now? Stop for a moment and revisit your vision you were so excited about in the first place. It's time to put it back in full view. And that's ahead of the naysayers, ahead of the lack that you're experiencing, in front of all the things coming at you at the moment. Put that vision back out in front. If it's fizzled out, that may be a sign it wasn't the right vision for you. Take some stock into finding out why the fire has gone out, and if you were following after something someone else was doing or maybe wasn't meant for you. Not everyone is called to be an entrepreneur. You may be thinking, entrepreneurship is just the thing to do. Everybody's chasing entrepreneurship. But if you know in your heart that you are an excellent administrator to somebody else, and that's what you can see where you can impact the world through helping somebody else's vision that lines up with your own, that's amazing. That's something to go after. That's something of purpose for you. Just because other people are entering entrepreneurship does not mean you have to. Now, on the flip side of that, not everyone is called to remain in a corporate setting. I gained some of my skills in a corporate setting. I worked out some of my giftings along the way, but I knew that was not where I was to remain as I went along. I did my training there, gained experience, but then I knew there was a day would come when I would move past that. So you need to determine what that is for you. But know this, there is a place for you to be and something for you to do. You are alive and breathing, so therefore you have a purpose to fulfill on this earth. By going through some of these tests, it's going to help you in determining what adjustments that you need to make. So don't run away from facing hard things. Hard things can refine you. It can refine your character. It can help you build resilience and strength, all those things. And a hard situation can have the ability to point you in the direction you need to go. So if you feel the pressure, but the vision in your heart is bigger than your circumstances, I want to say to you right now, don't give up. Stay in the fight. Stay in the game. Get around some people that will inspire you to keep going and keep listening to messages just like this. And most importantly for me, I made sure that my vision came from God. And for that reason, everything I do that's connected to that vision, I fight for. When you have that kind of understanding, there's no question about who you are as a person and the purpose for your life. And remember, as hard as today may be, and as hard as you may be tested in this moment, tomorrow is a new day. Subscribe to this channel if you want more inspiration and resources like this. And if you prefer a weekly newsletter directly from me, you can join that too. The link is in the description. Thanks for listening.